the Warsaw Rising Museum in Poland. It tells the story of one of Poland's most tragic yet heroic chapters in its history, the Warsaw Uprising. From August until October 1944, Poland's Home Army led an uprising against the Nazi forces. They thought they would get help from the advancing Soviet army. They were wrong. The uprising was crushed, a quarter of Warsaw's population was killed. Poland would go on to suffer Soviet occupation until 1989. But even then it would take 15 years and the determination of one Polish president to bring this museum to fruition.
Well, President Kaczynski was convinced that the tradition, the common identity really matters. And therefore, he believed that the tradition of Polish underground state and the Warsaw Rising and the Home Army is very important for independent Poland after 1989. And President Kaczynski was the first politician who said that looking forward needs really very strong roots.
The museum also features an exhibition of the Katyn massacre. The sound of guns being loaded and shot, an eerie reminder of the more than 20,000 Polish officers and intellectuals who were killed in the Russian forest in April of 1940 under Stalin's orders. Andrzej Jakubicz's father was killed in Katyn, a place and topic that was taboo during Poland's communist period. Jakubicz was at the 70th anniversary commemoration of Katyn on April the 10th when news broke out about the presidential plane crash. He had come earlier by train.
President
Kaczynski took great care over Poland's history and its patriotic image. This museum is proof of that. It was his baby. Katyn was the same. He labored constantly to bring the Katyn affair to light, study the history, to know how it happened.
Poland's tragic history of the 20th century. It was a cornerstone of Lech Kaczynski's national and foreign policy, and one which is also being used by his brother Jarosław for the upcoming June 20th presidential election. The twin brothers used history to remind not only their neighbors, Germany and Russia, that Poland now had its place at the heart of Europe, but they also carried out a political witch hunt for those opposed to their conservative and nationalist policies. Not very popular at the time of his brother's death, today Jarosław is getting a surge in sympathy votes, making this election race tighter than expected.
If Jarosław Kaczynski wins this election, it will be the result of this tragedy, of course, because if Smolensk didn't happen, Jarosław Kaczynski doesn't have any chance to win this election. He was a rather unpopular politician. His brother was more popular, and he had some chances to win this election again, to become a Polish president again. But Jarosław Kaczynski, his popularity, his position today is just a direct effect of this tragedy on Smolensk.
The tragedy of Smolensk left a nation mourning its president, his wife, and part of Poland's governing elite. And seeing his identical twin brother take up the political mantle has had an emotional impact on this country of 38 million. Here Jarosław is guest at a political debate, no interviews for the press, just a vow by Jarosław to complete his brother's mission.
I want to carry it on. Whether I will succeed or not, I don't know. It's out of my hands. But I think it's my duty towards my country. For me, it's also a duty to those who disappeared. And yes, of course, I am thinking about my brother.
Defending his brother, defending his country. While the opposition has warned of growing nationalism, for his supporters, it's just pure patriotism.
He's going to defend our country's interests against the hegemony of the other European countries. He'll follow a hard line for our interests in EU affairs. He won't give up, even if he's humiliated by his political adversaries. He's genuine. He speaks his own mind.
To jest człowiek, który jest sobą.
I know just how very difficult his mission is, but we Poles really have to show that we are Poles and not just a bunch of mixed-up voters.
There's little doubt that emotions are running high in this election campaign, and they've become a delicate balancing act for Bronislaw Komorowski, the main presidential candidate besides Kaczynski. Here, Komorowski is visiting a group of adolescents near Warsaw who had to evacuate their homes because of last month's deadly floods. Komorowski has been the acting president since the fatal plane crash. He's from the pro-European center-right Civic Platform Party. Before the Smolensk tragedy, he was widely expected to beat the late president Lech Kaczynski. But today he admits that emotional wounds from Poland's most recent tragedy are still raw.
No, kampania jest absolutnie nietypowa, bo jest naznaczona co najmniej 2 dramatami.
This campaign is completely out of the ordinary. It is marked by at least 2 dramas: the catastrophe in Smolensk and its consequences, but also the floods. All this puts limits on the campaign as far as electoral technique and going out after the voters. It also makes it less aggressive, because against this background of human drama, it's hard to go at it with a hammer, just bashing each other over the head with a political club.
Although there are 10 candidates running, this presidential race has come down to 2 men. And while Komorowski is still leading in opinion polls, Kaczynski is catching up to the point that it's widely expected there will be a second round of voting on the 4th of July. On the streets of Warsaw, opinions, like the country, are divided.
I have no choice other than Jarosław. There's no one better at the moment. He's the best candidate we have.
Just because Lech Kaczynski has gone, it doesn't mean his twin brother has to stand as a candidate. Let's be honest, he wasn't a very good prime minister, and so I don't believe he'll be a good president.
The catastrophe was very sad, but it has nothing to do with the choosing of the president for the next 5 years.
Well, as you know, Kaczynski's politics are concentrated on the past. But I think it's very important that the president thinks about the future of the country and not dwell on what's happened and go picking at the scars.
This monument pays tribute to victims of both the Nazi and Soviet occupations. It's a reminder of Poland's history, but also a reminder that in this presidential race, the past will inevitably play a role in determining Poland's future.